University, and designing English for the Workplace course book published in it was published, of course. In 2014, she was a member in TESL program and English Language Institute at the same time, and later worked as an academic advisor. She was delivering a number of academic writing workshops for 3 years, respectively, 2015, 16, and 17, of course. Dr. Zainab presented a lot of workshops at the Academic Writing Center. One of them was clarity, flow, coherence in writing, paragraph or paraphrasing to avoid plagiarizing, avoiding plagiarism for bachelor students, incorporated sources, and avoiding plagiarism. Today, inshallah, you'll enjoy a new and an outstanding workshop about word families for better writing. The floor is yours, Dr. Zainab.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Very good evening to you all. Zikra, Dr. Soha, Dr. Kamal, and our dear participants, our students. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. As Dr. Kamal mentioned, today's workshop is about word families for better writing. So thinking about this topic, just a little bit about why I thought of presenting this area, specific area. That I came across experiences of different levels of students that they think that learning vocabulary is just thinking about the meaning and translation, and that's it. So they do not think about vocabulary retention, vocabulary retrieval, to maximize the size of their vocabulary. Especially when it comes to writing, most of the teachers may come across this experience that some students they got stuck with vocabulary in the exams, especially in the assessment. So I thought of one of the reasons why we have these issues is the ignorance of this area of word families, which is a small area, but again is very, very important. It's crucial for our learners in academic writing and also in speaking. So, but they think about the meaning and translation, but they do not think about contextualizing and using this vocabulary, whether in speaking or in writing. They ignore the practice. I'm not talking about the classroom practice, but I'm talking about having an autonomous kind of learning outside the class. So that's why I thought of just to shed light on this specific area. So the objectives of this workshop, of today's workshop, is understanding the importance of word families and explore various examples of word families across different contexts. And I will take one example of a medical context here. Of course, ESB, I'll be mentioning something about ESB, but in particular, the example will be about the medical context. Then I will let you know, inshallah, why I just picked this area. And another objective is use these word families to enhance academic writing, clarity, coherence, and paraphrasing. Where we think of writing every time we present and have a workshop in Academic Writing Center. So because this is our area of a specialist, then we need to shed light to this area. The outlines of this workshop as you can see, understanding word families. And we will also look at identifying word families in academic reading. Since we look at academic writing, we do not ignore reading, because I think this is the basics of writing. This is where we start thinking about writing. And we'll also look at the importance of word families in academic writing, where I mention this paraphrasing, coherence, and cohesion, and of course, then to avoid plagiarism. Word families in the medical context, this is I mentioned, and tools. We'll be also looking at some tools and techniques for word family learning and revising. Again, these tools as example, but there are a lot of different tools for vocabulary learning with this era of technology, of course. So let's think about understanding word families. So thinking about word families, what comes to your mind when you look at these word families or word class and word family? What do you think of? Just quickly. When I talk about word families, what do you think of? Any idea? Okay. So, okay. Yes, Selva? Okay, part of speech. Parts of speech. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Kamal. Yes, we think of part of speech. When I talk about word families, yes, I will highlight this part of speech, specifically when I talk about word class. Okay? So word families, when we talk about word families, we talk about related words of different word class. That means, for example, if I say accept and accepted, acceptable, this is what I mean by related word class. So a word class, as you mentioned, Dr. Kamal, it is part of speech, word class. But word family, they are related words of different word class. Word class, mainly in academic context, we use verbs, nouns, adverbs, and adjectives. They constitute, yes. Okay. So they constitute, the word class constitutes 50% of the academic text. So from 4 classes, noun, as I said, adjective, adverb, and yes. Okay, thank you so much. But there are other word classes, not only nouns, verbs, adjective, and adverbs. For example, we have in modern grammar, we have coordinators, subordinators. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, we have in modern grammar, as I said, we have subordinators, coordinators, and we have determiners. In traditional grammar, we call all these conjunctions and prepositions and articles, subordinators, all these determiners, for example, all these are word class. But when we talk about word family, we talk about one specific, yes, thank you so much. Yes, exactly. We talk about one word class with the same root, if you like, but different words, different related words. So this is what we mean by when differentiate between the word class. Yes, Thank you so much. Yes, exactly. So using this vocabulary in a sentence, sorry, could you please, yes, do not move the slide. Yes. So when we talk about word class, as I said, or word families, in specific word families, we need to use these word families purposefully. That means with a purpose in mind, whether this word fit into a verb context or an adjective or a noun or an adverb. So what do we exactly need? What is the function of these forms, of these word forms in a sentence? This is what we are looking for. Okay? So when we talk about sorry. Yes, when we talk about word families, we need to look at the function of these word families in a sentence, in a context, regardless whether it is a sentence or a paragraph or in a text. Okay? So we need to look at word families in academic reading. So what is the function of, okay, thank you so much. Yes. So what is the function? Why is it important to identify word families in academic reading? So when we want to look at academic reading in terms of this specific area of vocabulary, we need to think about vocabulary development to enhance comprehension, to help meaning, to identify meaning in context, to look at the patterns at different word families and their relationship. Yes, yes, to look at this relationship of these different vocabulary items in a sentence or in a paragraph or in a written text. So it enhances comprehension and it helps in developing your vocabulary, increase the size of your vocabulary, and it will help in also, most importantly, speed up your reading. So you identify related words in a context will speed up your reading, which we sometimes we need to look at the meaning of a word and we stop for a while to search for this word and then we go back. But if you master this area of word families, it will be very easy for you to speed up your reading. So these are some of the areas that we need to think of when we think of word families in reading context. So to contextualize word families, related words, of course, in reading, as I said, it enhances your vocabulary development. So and depending on this context, on different contexts, like ESB context, and as I mentioned, the medical context, these areas we need to develop something about the knowledge of affixation. As you mentioned, when we talk about contextualizing word families, we need to think about related words. Related words, we need to think about affixation and knowledge of affixation. So for deepening your understanding, especially in this ESB context, we have a lot to say about word families and affixation in an ESB context. Not only in medical context, it could be in business context, it could be in science context, and so forth. So in order to use this word and to actively engaged in your reading and your writing, you need to increase your knowledge of affixation, whether it is inflectional or derivational. We need to increase this. What do we mean by inflectional and derivational? We'll be looking at this in a minute. Let's think about members of word families. When we think about members of word families, we'll be tackling this inflectional and derivational. These are terms, we use them, but practically we're going to see this when we have these members of word families. For example, this one is suggested by a Nation and cited by Sapon 2016 as contextualized word families and members. If you look at the word teach, teaches, taught, teacher, teachable, teaching, and this is what we mean by word class. So teach, the base word or root, let's say, is a verb. It could be used as plural verb. They teach, for example. It teaches is clear that it is the singular verb in present simple. For example, she teaches, he teaches. Taught, past, and taught again, past. Yes, thank you. Exactly. Yes, yes, exactly. So yes, suffixes, exactly. So we are taking it bit by bit. Okay, thank you so much. Teacher is a noun, teachable, adjective, and present participle, teaching, which is the ing form. So here we can think about now what are the two distinct systems that we thought of for derivation and inflection. Yes, yes, thank you so much. So when we think about these terms in specific, then we could just say when we have this ed, when we have this es, we could say the ing form, we could say this is one way of forming the word families. Another way, so here I'm not talking about, yes, here I'm not talking about, here I'm not talking about specific suffixes or prefixes. I'm just talking about how do we formulate members of words, or and the word class of this. So if we go back to the two types I mentioned, es, ing, ed could be one way of formulating word families. Another way, as I said, could be, let's look at the next one. Another way could be this affixation and word families, where we have the tion suffixes, ion, al for nouns, adjectives, alive or ous, and so forth, verb suffixes and adverb suffixes. So this will help us to go back and look at where we mention these kind of suffixes and prefixes of affixation. This is the system, I mean, for adding to the end of a word. Of course, this is suffixes, and beginning of a word, this is prefixes. We call affixation. So we need to increase our knowledge of affixation. So for these members, going back to these members, to contextualize these members, again, a nation suggested these 7 steps for contextualizing members and using them, building up your knowledge about this. We could follow this step. It's just a suggestion, and I find it very useful if we follow as learners. I'm talking about learners. If we follow this, we can also, as teachers, we can also take this model and practice this model in the class. But as learners, we can just take this and make some kind of practice outside the class. So identifying a new word, tier 2 in reading, and this is a proficiency level for academic vocabulary list in reading, and then giving a definition of the meaning of the word. We'll have illustration for this, listing down the members of word family, constructing meaningful sentences using the members of the family. So if you look at context, yes, I'll be back to these points, okay? Let me just finish with this. Constructing meaningful sentences using the members of the word family to show context, and writing a short paragraph. Then this is the next step of the word family, drawing a picture or for the word family or the base form, talking about it. So it's not only thinking about the meaning and listing down words, but also about context. And this is why I started talking about why I just selected this area, because not only in writing, but also in speaking, talking to a friend about the complete entry of the word family. We can practice this in the class, but again, we need to have some time to think about this for other members of the word families when we want to write a paragraph or a sentence as practicing outside the class. Okay, so this is what we would like to look at, these members of the families. And as I mentioned, these are the suffixes, noun suffixes, adjective suffixes, verb suffixes, and adverb suffixes. So if you look at the prefixes, this is where we think about derivational. Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot read the comments. Let me finish, and inshallah I'll be answering all these questions. Or we may, if you have any comments, you can add. So prefixes and suffixes here, changing word classes, suffixes and prefixes, giving differences in meaning. They are both in the category of derivational. It is morphology for yes, thank you so much. It is morphology, but we are just dealing it without mentioning these terms for our students, not to be worried about the terms, but just to think about what practically we do need to do with these suffixes and prefixes. So because prefixes, the prefixes in itself has a meaning. For example, re or an or hyper. So when it is attached to or preceding a word, it gives a new meaning for this word. So that's why we need to think of prefixes and suffixes in our context for writing or reading, of course. So now thinking about this, how do we incorporate all this, and why is it important to think about this affixation and word families in our writing? Why is it important? So the importance of affixation or these word families in our writing, it lies in these areas, or maybe more, but I just looked at these areas as an example of the importance of word families in academic writing. Clarity, cohesion, and paraphrasing. So it increases the size of your vocabulary. The word limit in your writing, when we ask our students to write a paragraph of 100 words, if you are as a student, if you have your prior knowledge of the vocabulary you have studied throughout, for example, from unit 1 to unit 6, and you follow certain way of increasing your vocabulary size or developing your vocabulary, let's say learning, retention and acquisition, or learning and acquisition of this vocabulary, it will help you write these 100 words by using different word families in your writing. So it will allow writers to choose different forms of a word in a context in your writing. It conveys a specific meaning or theme in your writing. It reduces ambiguity and creates unity. So conveying a specific meaning means, if I want to use it as a verb, how should I construct my sentence? If I want to use it as a noun, or I want to use it as an adjective, how should I use it purposefully? It also helps in linking concepts and to enhance the flow of your writing. It helps understand sentence structure and meaning, reduces redundancies. Writing becomes varied and engaging. Reducing redundancies, one may think about, if I use this word many times, it could create some kind of redundancies. But if I use a different form of the same word, or different family members of this word, it could reduce redundancy in my writing. One of the most important things for our beginner writers, for our students, let's say at this level, the undergraduate students, is paraphrasing. So in writing, of course, there are a lot of different tools for paraphrasing. Students can use, I mean, online, or there are different AI tools for paraphrasing. But where to start? We start in the class, we start to practice individually, then we expand this by using these different tools. But we need to start when paraphrasing, when restating ideas, changing without changing the original word. We need to start somewhere with the same, little practice in the class, but extra practice on your own to develop this skill. So one of the benefits of using these word families in paraphrasing, that we use the word families immediately to expand our vocabulary size. What do we mean by immediately here is you are just paraphrasing on the spot in the class, and you are not allowed to use these all online tools, and you have exercises you need to finish. You just recall and retrieve the information about these word families and you use them. This will affect your vocabulary size, and you are immediately learning from this paraphrasing your text to incorporate this in your writing, or if it is a task as its own for your reading, for academic reading purpose, you can also increase your vocabulary size and expand or use these word families to develop your vocabulary retention, or let's say retrieval or acquisition, whatever term we can use. So this is the major job. So let's consider this one. If I want to use describe in this context as a paraphrasing exercise, so how would you use describe here? Think of 4, yes, 5, yes, 4, yes, 4 different word families related. Okay. 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 Good. Next one. Okay. And the last one. So you can check yourself here. We need to think about the suffixes and the prefixes. So if you take this example, gastr and colo, you will see itis and ectomy. Let's take gastritis, which means the inflammation of the stomach. Itis is the suffix, and gastr is the root, meaning stomach. But if you are aware of this suffix, you will develop this knowledge of vocabulary. Whenever you find this itis, then you would think of this is inflammation. Thinking about the root won't be a big issue, because you will be looking at pictures, for example. You'll be looking at cards, for example. So you need to be aware of the suffixes, which shows the specific. This, by the way, this is what we mean by diagnostic suffixes. This is one type of suffixes which we call diagnostic. So it shows the inflammation, what is happening in this particular organ or part of the body. So ectomy, on the other hand, is procedural, which means removal, excision. Where? In the colon. So colo is the root, and then ectomy is the suffixes, which means excision or removal, and it is procedural. So itis is diagnostic and ectomy is procedural. So this is why we have these two distinct types of suffixes within the word part. Let's look at the medical word parts. First of all, why do we need to, just a question, why do we need to learn about these suffixes and prefixes that way? I mean, heavily focusing on these suffixes and prefixes in the medical terminology. Just, okay, understand the meaning. Okay, to analyze the medical word. Okay, yes. We actually, yes, we actually think about the communication among these health practitioners. We think about when you communicate, yes, exactly. Yes, you can use this medical term accurately to pass your message or to convey your message to the health practitioner. You need to look at these specific areas in the medical field. So this example will also show the medical word parts and the word families. If you look at surgeon, surgical, surgically, and surgery, what do you think of the root of this word? Do we have some students here from? Yes. Okay. Okay. Surgeon. Okay. Yes, because yes. Okay. Surge. Yes, exactly. Surge. Exactly. Surge. Surge is the root. Yes. Because as I said, this is because these medical words are from, yes, exactly. Thank you so much. So surge is the root, and then yes, these are word families that we need to look at in our context. When I mention that there are some roots, some words with prefixes and suffixes, but we do not have a root for this, we could think of an example. For example, dialysis. If there are some students here from, yes, dialysis. Yes, dialysis, dia is a prefix. Dia is a prefix. And lysis is a suffix. Right. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes, exactly. Yes. So dia is a prefix and lysis is a suffix. Where we combine them, it gives dialysis, which is a new word. And again, lysis is a prefix which is procedural because it means separation. For example, the word dialysis, hemodialysis, for example. And again, another word could be diarrhea. Dia, again, is a prefix. Rhea is discharge. Diarrhea, so two parts, suffixes and prefixes. And that's why we need to focus on these two areas, suffixes and prefixes, and roots, of course, for having these word classes in the medical. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, so here, these are some techniques for tools and techniques for learning and revising word families. So, of course, different students or different teachers could tackle this kind of vocabulary learning, vocabulary revising, and different ways for teachers and as well for students. I just mentioned this as an example. Graphic organizers, Google Sheets or Google Documents, Quizlet, Evernote, and wordhippo.com. I found this very interesting. Wordhippo. You can just try it. For vocabulary, it's not only memorizing, dear students, not only memorizing. Again, because I faced some challenges with the memorization in writing. Again, this is not memorizing. This is using and contextualizing the vocabulary and the word family in specific for different purposes in your writing and in your reading and speaking as well. So you can use any of them. These are just for example. We use them differently, of course. I have this graphic organizer as an example. I mentioned this upon 2016, and you can visualize now the 7 steps we mentioned. You can see how the word is written here in this organizer, and the definition here, and the word family here, whether it is a verb, a plural, singular, past, different variants of the past, or two, maybe noun, adjective, and participle. The same 7 steps we had, and now in the 4th step, you write a sentence using contextualizing this, using these word families in writing a sentence, and then later you write a paragraph, and you make this kind of association and learning from pictures. And I think we have this one of the steps for if any of ELIC students, we have this step in the upcoming writing assessment, maybe task 2, we have to include this drawing pictures or using linguistic representation of a new word. And last, the 7th step is to use it in speaking. So make your vocabulary active. Do not just keep it in a paper or in an online sheet. Just try to use it so as to be within your working vocabulary, and but you avoid this kind of issues when you come to writing and reading and speaking, of course. And I also a list of vocabulary for each individual unit in our books. We can use them, both teachers and students can highlight these and use them. So you can use this. I don't think the time will allow us to do this, but this is how to apply this model and use these words. You can do it. But I have just one thing I would like to share it with you before we move to the last point, which is the quiz. I would like to share these 2 important. I think they are important. This word list, academic word list and academic vocabulary. This is the PDF. You can download it. It's academic blog, the second one, but the first one is a website. But they are very, very helpful for our students and also for teachers. You can use them for your exercises or activities in the class. If you just go through, you will find 570 words entries for this vocabulary, and they are academic word list, and you will find word families for this academic vocabulary word list, and you can use these word families. But one thing I would like to mention here is all these word families, they have only one entry in the dictionary where you can click and find this word first, and then you will find the rest within the examples or within the hyperlinks of. Yes, we can now look at your questions, but I would like to share this with you also. If you click this and you write your name, you will find a short quiz just to recap and kind of a summary for our session. If time allows, it will take just 2 minutes from your time. And I will be just observing, and I will share your result if you don't mind. Okay, so you can just click, and this is a kind of a summary for what we have said about this word, and this is our reference list.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zainab. Our original time
Yes,
is almost over, but we're gonna allow like 2 to 3 minutes for anyone who has question. And probably if you can copy and paste that link.
We can just skip this if they would like to do it. They can do it, and it's just wrapping up the session, but it's just yeah.
Yeah, if you want to paste this link on the chat box so people can easily click on it.
Okay. Okay, I can do.
Mr. Kamal, do we have the evaluation link?
Yes, it's ready.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you, dear students and participants. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the comments. I can see some of the comments, and of course, we have great colleagues here, and they add good points to the presentation where I could miss some maybe comments and questions. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Zainab. We all have to thank you and all the participants and all the colleagues for the very informative, interactive, insightful, invaluable, and enjoyable presentation. Thank you very much. And again, I'm repeating myself. Sorry for the inconvenience that happened today.
It's okay.
Some of
this is technology.
Reporting, if you can check the link, Mr. Kamal, some of the participants are reporting that the access is denied.
It is open. I opened it, and it's okay. Really? I opened it, and from my side, it's working.
Okay, I guess works.
And I think because of this technical issues, I missed some valuable comments and valuable questions. I just give a glance. Quickly looking at them. I couldn't specify I mean, some of the questions I could not. Yeah,
We
I'm
already
sorry for that.
downloaded. No, don't worry.
Participants.
We all downloaded the slides.
Anyway, this is my email. If you have any questions.
I'm even filling it out now. There is something wrong today. So really sorry for these inconveniences.
Which one?
Well, still not working for some.
I mean this one? You mean this one?
No, the feedback.
Assessments or the feedback? Oh, sorry. Okay, I can share some of the answers and the result. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear participants. Abdurrahman, Jinan, and Hanof. Thank you so much.